What up? We are back with my MLB playoff predictions for this year's postseason. Obviously, I'm going to be making my World Series picks as well as we look at the bracket here to break it down. In the American League, you got the Tigers going on the road to face the Guardians in a three-game set. Red Sox, Yankees in a three-game set. Both of those series, AL Central, AL East, rivalries playing against each other. Then you head to the National League. You got the NL Central Reds squeaking into the playoffs by a tiebreaker over the Mets to face the Dodgers here on the road. And then probably, potentially, the best series on paper is the San Diego Padres from the NL West travel to Chicago to play the Cubs in the NL Central. And we'll go back to the AL. My Tigers going on the road to face Cleveland. Scooble has been nasty against the Guardians. Tigers are 4-2 against Cleveland on the road. Even amid their awful September, I'm obviously going to go with my Tigers here on the road to move on to face the Mariners in the ALDS. And then you go look down. You got the Red Sox, Yankees. Obviously, historic rivalry, one of the best rivalries in baseball. I'm going Boston here, going into New York and winning that series. And I say that because Boston has dominated the Yankees this year, and I expect that trend to continue. Plus, I trust Boston more right now than I trust the Yankees, even though the Yankees are hot going into the postseason. We'll go to the National League. We got the Reds and the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were supposed to light up MLB, set a new MLB record, but that's just not the case this year. Not only were they the third best team in the National League, but this team just really didn't have it this year. And I'm going with the Reds to pull potentially the biggest upset of playoff memory for the Dodgers and the Reds and Terry Francona. I think Francona did everything he could with this team to take him here. Ellie De La Cruz is going to have to show up because it's going to have to be the lineup that dominates here in this one if they really want to win this one. And I think a 5-game series, 7-game series, I'm definitely going the Dodgers here just because they have the more depth. But a 3-game series, anything can happen. And that's why I like the Reds here, especially Hunter Green, the way he's dealing right now. Nick Lodolo, he's pitching well. Andrew Abbott, all these guys are going to be factors here in this series. And then the Dodgers, it's Blake Snell and Yamamoto, possibly Shohei game three. So honestly, I just think that there's going to be huge shockwaves around MLB, and that's going to be because those Reds move on. And like I said, Padres go to Chicago. Huge series for both these teams. I think the Cubs came in with good expectations, Padres as well. And one of these teams is going to get eliminated in the wild card. And that's going to be the Padres. I think Wrigley's going to be rocking. And the key for them to win the series is the lineup has to show up because, it's slowly trending downward, but Michael Busch, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, all three of those lefties have to show up in this series where the Padres have dominant right-handed pitching, and they're going to have to make a big impact in this one if they want to move on. And we'll go back to the ALDS. Tigers, Mariners. I'm putting bias aside, going with the Mariners here. They've been awesome, a great story. Cal Raleigh obviously dominating baseball, and this is probably the most complete team in the American League. Bullpen, pitching, lineup wise. I like the Mariners here to move on, probably in 4 games over my Tigers. In the other series, you got another AL East rivalry, Boston and Toronto. This one's going to be going 5, but I'm going with Boston on the road in Toronto to win this series. I just think Boston is a team that's built for this. Alex Bregman is going to have a big series. The Blue Jays have kind of, ho hum, kind of got that best seed because they, won the games they had to win at the end of the year, and they tied the Yankees, and they had the tiebreaker to get that. And honestly, if these teams were flipped, things might be a little different here in my predictions because I trust Boston in a 5-game series more than I trust Toronto. We'll move to the NL. We got the Phillies and the Reds in a big series in the NLDS, and I'm going with the Phillies here to move on. Like I said about the Reds in a 3-game series, I think in 5-game series, Philly just has the depth to compete and win this one. And if it did go 5, I mean, I trust Philly in Philly more than I would trust Cincinnati going in there and getting a win. Philly's a good team. Obviously, Trey Turner's back. Everyone's back here for Philly. There's no reason why this team shouldn't go to the NLCS at this point in the season. But a big story is the Dodgers and Phillies have never played each other in the playoffs when all these teams have been very good. One's got eliminated early, and they just haven't crossed paths. And if they do face, obviously that series is going 5, and I would probably flip a coin to see who moves on there. Then you have NL Central matchup in the NLDS, Cubs, Brewers, huge series there. The Cubs, obviously what they can do, obviously they took the Brewers manager, and the Brewers, Pat Murphy and company, are going to move on past the Cubs, get a little revenge and tell you that Craig Counsell was the problem for the Brewers. I don't think that's the case here in the series. I just think the Brewers are a better team, more complete team, and it'll be an interesting series. I wouldn't be surprised if this went three. It was a three-game sweep by the Brewers, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this went five and the Brewers walked it off. So these two teams are very close, and division rivalries, anything can happen. They play each other 12 times a year now, so who knows what that holds. Then we'll go back to the ALCS. You get the Mariners and the Red Sox, and if you were to tell me beginning of the season this was the matchup that I'm predicting, I wouldn't even think that would be the case. Maybe the Mariners would get to the wild card, and maybe the Red Sox would get to the wild card in my eyes. I think that was what my predictions had. But them facing off in the ALCS, I don't think I would have picked that at all. And with that, I'm going with the Mariners to go to the World Series. What story would that be? First time winning the AL West in 24 years. And not only do they do that, they're going to get to the World Series, win the AL, and it's going to be a great story. I think they win in six over the Red Sox. Their pitching is going to prove just a little too much there for the Red Sox because Giolito hurt right now. That's a big concern. I know they have Crochet, but the Red Sox after that have really kind of been ho-hum, hit or miss. And the lineup's great, but like I said, complete teams normally do well in the postseason that come in playing well, and that's the Mariners at this point in the season. And then we'll flip it to the NL. You get the top two seeds, the Phillies and the Brewers, playing each other, and I'm going with the Brew Crew. I think this one would go six, if not seven. And if that's the case, I like the Brewers in this situation at home for a game seven. I don't know. It just seems like it's one of those years where you don't get those huge powerhouse teams in the finals. We saw that last year, Yankees, Dodgers. Who wants to see that? I mean, I guess the fans do because, all-time high World Series ratings, but real baseball fans, they don't want to see that. Real baseball fans, if their favorite team's not in it, they want to see these teams, Mariners, Brewers, teams that don't normally get there. And that would be a great World Series. It was like when the Diamondbacks went, that was a great World Series. And I think that can be the case this year with the Mariners and the Brewers. And when it comes down to it, I'm going AL over NL. I'm going with the Seattle Mariners to be your World Series champions. What a story that would be with Cal Raleigh and this team and pitching. Julio gets his first ring. Everybody gets a first ring pretty much for this Mariners ball club. And analysis on this one, I think it's a crapshoot because both these teams compete well. They line up very well against each other. Both have great catchers. Both have a good infield. Both have a great outfield. And bullpens are great. Starting pitching is great. Maybe you could lean the Brewers. Maybe you can lean the Mariners, depending where you look at it. But I think this is going to go 6 games. Brewers take it at home, and they get a huge World Series win, and this team finally completes it. They do it, and I'm sure America's going to be happy about this one. What up, guys? We're back with my MLB playoff power rankings. We're ranking all 12 teams on where I think their chances are to win the World Series here this year. And we'll start with 12 and 11. Tigers, my Tigers come into this limping into the playoffs, crawling, maybe falling into the playoffs, I guess you could say. Get the Guardians in the first round. AL 6 seed. You get Scooble on the bump. I just think the Tigers right now just aren't the team that we thought they would be 2 months ago, and that's why they're here at 11. Reds squeak in. It's just a miracle that they got in, and they get the Dodgers in the first round. They get Hunter Green on the bump. This team exceeded expectations, so they're just happy to be here playing with house money like the Tigers were last year. 9 and 10. Red Sox Guardians. Red Sox, got in. It was great for them to get in. They get the Yankees in the wild card, Crochet on the bump game one. Guardians win the Central by a game over the Tigers, who collapsed. Gave them the Central at this point. Gavin Williams is on the bump. These two teams have a tough road ahead of them, especially with how it plays out bracket-wise for these two teams, and that's why they're here at this point. 7 and 8, we got the two teams that are facing each other. So one of these two teams will be not making it to the DS round, the divisional series, and it's the Cubs and the Padres. The Cubs 92 and 70, a great year for them. More than likely would win them that NL Central almost every year except this year. Padres 90 and 72, it's a very respectable record for them. And these two teams match up, like I said in my predictions video, probably the best series we're going to get here from the wild card series. And you look it up. I mean, whoever wins this series gets the 1 seed. That's going to be those Brewers, and that's going to be a tough challenge for either of these teams here. And then obviously that other side of the bracket, the NL, is crazy as well. So that's why I have them here at 7 and 8. Then 5 and 6. I have AL teams, the one seed and the two seed. The one seed, the Blue Jays at six, the two seed, the Mariners at five. This team, both these teams, 90 plus wins. I don't think we really saw that coming, especially from the Blue Jays, but the Mariners more than likely, after what they did this whole year, they were the most consistent team in baseball, just churning out wins. Yeah, they never got on huge winning streaks, but they were doing what they had to do in series. And the Mariners get the Guardians or the Tigers. Blue Jays get the Yankees or the Red Sox. And I like both these teams here. They're past to the World Series. Then three and four, we got the Dodgers and the Brewers. And the Dodgers are the three seed. They get the Reds. Blake Snell on the bump, 93 wins. Wasn't enough for them to get a bye in the National League. And bye in the National League goes to the Brewers, the number one seed, 97 and 65. Now you may be asking, why are they not number one or two? Well, if they face the Dodgers in the first round, I mean, that's a tough gig there, obviously, because the Dodgers have that experience, and that's why they are ahead of the Brewers here. But we've seen it from the Brewers time and time again. They just forget how to play baseball. They choke. The pitching's great, but the lineup is just MIA in the playoffs, and that's why I have them at four, because it's just the consistency and what I've seen in years past. The Brewers just somehow, some way, just can't get it done in the playoffs. Then one and two, I don't think it's too much of a surprise to put the Phillies at one with how they're playing baseball right now. And they get the Cubs, the Padres in the divisional round, 96-66. Great year for the Phillies as they are coming in this playoffs, just looking like the team to beat. And that can go for the Yankees as well, 94 and 68. They're the four seed, lose on a tiebreaker, so they get the Red Sox in the first round, and anything can go in an AL East rivalry. Max Fried on the bump for them, game one against the Red Sox in Crochet. And if the Yankees lose to the Red Sox in this one, I think there's going to be a lot of concerns and questions about Aaron Boone, how this team moves forward, because it seems like they get to the playoffs and there's some questionable decisions in the playoffs. Because they can win games when they have to in the regular season, get to the playoffs, but can they get over the hump? And I think that's where Yankees fans are concerned at this point going into the year. But, the playoffs are here, so let's see how it turns out.